Okay, so welcome guys to Suitcase Divas podcast. This is episode 19. My name is Denise Theobaldi with Redbirds Travel.
And I'm Cheryl Garcia with ABCD Adventures.
Yeah, so this is gonna be part one of our MSC cruise review. We were invited as agents to come on and check out their MSC cruise, the Meraviglia. I think that's how you say it. It's kind of tricky. It's got a silent G in there, like lasagna.
Well, and I think
But
people say it differently.
they do. I got a lot of different variations of it, but it's a beautiful ship. We ported out of Brooklyn, New York, so we flew up from Charlotte to Brooklyn. Um, we spent the night in the Sheraton, which we've already covered, and then we went ahead and went on the Brooklyn terminal and had an awesome cab driver. He was awesome. And then we went in and the embarkation went pretty smoothly. There was imagine you're trying to onboard 5,000 plus people, okay? So it's a zigzag, a sea of lines, but they kept it moving pretty good. There was some guy singing in there and telling everybody to get out their passports and have your tickets ready. So I would say from the time we entered this big hangar area and zigzagged through all the lines and got through everything. It was we were on the ship within about an hour, right, Cheryl? Would you say
Yeah,
an hour?
I agree.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that part went really pretty smooth. I've had others take longer. Um, then when we got on the ship is gorgeous. It is a beautiful ship, lots of sparkling staircases, glass, very shimmery. I love the Italian decor, lots of reds, and the casino was beautiful. And but getting to our room was a little difficult. It was like a maze, and our hallway wasn't open because they were still busy cleaning. So we could have just like gone to a buffet or gone someplace, but we really wanted to see if we could get to our room. So then when we kind of followed a sea of people, and then we did eventually find our room. And nice room, decent room, big mirror, not tons of storage, but we made it work. Um, we were on our side. Our balcony was facing the New York skyline. We got to see the Statue of Liberty and the New York skyline. So all of that was like super pretty, and I enjoyed that part. So then pretty much that was good. We got our bearings, walked around a bit, correct, Cheryl? And then we're pretty much moving into, I think we went to bed. Oh, the one thing I will say, our dinner was slated for almost 9 p.m. and that kind of sucks because you're up all day, you got the drink package, and so by 9 o'clock you're like way ready to have dinner before then. So that was kind of a bummer, and we could not get it changed. No matter what we did, we could not get that time changed. So that was kind of a crapshoot. Um, but then we went to bed pretty early that night, and then we're essentially moved on to. Do you have anything you want to reflect on about
Y-
embarkation, or do you just want to go into day one?
Well, okay, so what's funny is I count embarkation as day one, like I what we did that day. And I think you're moving on to day two. And I think that's why when we were putting our
Oh,
notes together, we had it
that's why
separate.
I thought
So
Italian. Okay, I see what you're
yes,
saying. That makes sense. It does make
yeah.
sense because you got the time on the ship, and then you've got all that first day where there's the evening, and that was our first day at sea,
Yeah, because
correct? We get on the ship.
no, we got on at 12 and we were at the buffet about 1:30ish. So, but from the time we got into the port to get checked in, we got dropped our stuff off in our room, like you said, our carry-ons that we were carrying with us. And then we were
and
up at
we
the buffet about 1:30. So, like you said, about an hour and a half.
and it
Um,
was chilly because we're in New York. So the things you need to know is it was chilly, and we anticipated that in New York. But we're like in our heads, we're like, but we're going to the Bahamas, so it's gonna be fabulous. This is short-lived cold. I guess that's
So
not what
we
happened.
did actually pack in our carry-on backpacks and our go bags was like our bathing suits in case we wanted to or had the opportunity, which that didn't come about. So what we ended up doing after we dropped our stuff off is we did go to the lunch buffet, which was fairly decent. It was like a buffet, nothing
Nothing to write home about.
terrible. It wasn't terrible. It did not foreshadow what we were going to experience the rest of the week, which we'll get into. It was a buffet, no big deal. Like Denise said, the room was not a terrible size by itself, but there was absolutely no storage. There was only two of us in this room. We were in a room that this room actually did not sleep four people because the sofa was not a bed. So I think it was slated for two. But even for the two of us, we literally kind of had to split up where we had our stuff. Denise had the whole left side, I had the whole right side. There were
I
what?
essentially lived out of my suitcase though,
We
because
Yes.
I wasn't using that closet per se. I did hang up my dresses and stuff, but I essentially lived out of my suitcase for a week because
And
there was nowhere to put my stuff.
right, so there were three cubbies. I don't think there were any drawer. Oh, there were like three drawers, which
There
we
were
had put
a couple of
some
small drawers,
stuff,
yeah.
but then there were three cubbies that were fairly small. I had like my next day clothes or my pajamas I would shove in there throughout the week, but you could not unpack. Two people could not unpack fully unless all your clothes were hung up. So just keep that in mind. This was the least amount of storage space I've ever experienced in a room.
Probably the same. And not a lot of outlets.
I was
Thank
just
God we
about to
had
say
that.
that. Yeah, we only had one outlet and it was nowhere near the bed. It was completely across the room from the bed,
But I
which,
had brought that surge protector, so that saved us.
well, be careful, not a surge protector, you bought an extension cord
Uh,
because you can't take a
yeah,
surge
and it's got
protector.
USB, yeah, USB ports and outlet ports, but it was not a surge protector. But it saved us
Oh,
for being able
absolutely.
to have multiple outlets for charging.
Yeah, there wasn't even an outlet in the bathroom. They did have in the
Oh
ceiling
no,
like
that was
an
weird.
outlet for a beard trimmer, which obviously we don't know that that's a different plug because we're not using that, but it was just very weird how that worked out.
It was, yeah.
The other thing that I was different or was the only card, and I don't, for those of you that haven't cruised, when you go in the room, you have to put a card in where to get the power to turn on.
Yes.
Most of the other cruise lines, you can put in like
A business card.
or a Costco card, any other type of card. None of
Yes.
those would work. You had to
Right.
use the MSC room card. So there were
That was
actually
annoying.
at one point, Denise and I both left the room without our card. Remember that? Thankfully, our
Yeah.
wonderful room attendant was in the
Leslie,
hallway.
we love you, Leslie.
Yes, and we both looked at each other like the door
Oh
just shut
shit.
and neither one of us had a card. So that was something to get used to. The beds were hard. The beds,
Very
even
uncomfortable.
with
Very uncomfortable.
the mattress topper, the beds were hard. And I don't like I like a medium firm bed. And normally I can handle a hard bed, but this was uncomfortable. I did not love it. Yeah.
More than
So
I know. But yes, I don't love a hard bed. And um it was, yeah, very hard.
and the bathroom was actually a decent, only one of us could really be in there to do anything at a time. The
Right.
lighting throughout the whole room was horrible. For those of you getting dressed, needing to do hair or makeup or anything, um, the lighting was horrible.
But
But
there
the
was a
bath,
big mirror, so I was able to like, because I was on that side, so I had the mirror that I could curl my hair, and I did my makeup over there, and just I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I was just kind of winging it. I got my lipstick on,
yeah.
woohoo!
And then I was able to use the bathroom, but again, the lighting was not great. Shower was nice because it actually had glass door instead of the curtain. So I
Hmm.
thought the shower pressure
And it
was
had the little
really
wire
good.
to hang your
Yes.
wet clothes or stuff. So some people don't have that, but that was good to have. And the
Right.
water pressure was good, and the water was warm. We did not have any
Which we did
issues
hear
there.
about
So
other people having issues with their
yeah.
toilets and stuff, but we did not. We did venture to the indoor hot tub that night. We didn't spend much time out
Did
there.
we?
We
I don't
did.
recall.
This was
No, I
after
do.
we
I
had
remember.
cracked open or cracked into our drink package. Um, but we did make it to the indoor hot tub. The indoor area was, I forgot the name of it. I should have wrote that down. Was very pretty, very
It
warm,
was beautiful.
which was nice because you had to walk through the open
It
air
was
to get to
so
it.
cold and windy. Yes.
So that was the one and only time we put on a bathing suit on our
That was the
7-day
one
Bahamas
and only
cruise.
time. Yeah,
So
it's so sad,
we
isn't
did
it?
mention the drink package. It was about 450 each. So
Right.
averages out to
Mhm.
about $65 a day. This was the middle level, which you were given certain choices. I didn't have any problem other than the ship not having my wine at all the whole week. If you're a sweet wine drinker,
I thought,
not
yeah, I thought the drink package was legit for me, but I mean, I like a dry red, and they had multiple varieties of that. They also had mimosas pretty much everywhere you want. I'll let you recap about the specialty coffee because I'm not a specialty coffee person per se. I'm not a Starbucks girl. I'll put it that way.
right.
I do have a cup of coffee at home with my caramel macchiato creamer, and then I'm like moving on from the coffee. You drink coffee all day. Like you're a
Yes.
coffee girl, a coffee
Yeah.
connoisseur.
So one of the things that people talk about when they're or way against getting the drink package is it usually includes your specialty coffees and your sodas and bottled water, which we totally kept stocking up. Anytime we asked for a drink, we pretty much asked for a bottle of water and kept them in our
Yeah.
room. Um, in the past, when I've gotten the package, I have gotten my fill of my specialty drinks. And MSC, in their advertisement for the drink package, they do mention specialty coffee.
Hmm.
There is no specialty coffee on MSC. I'm just going to tell you there isn't any. No. The only place to get coffee that you didn't have to pay for, I had to pay for coffee finally one day at the chocolate shop down in like deck 6 or whatever because I was ready for a
I've
and when I
never seen
say
Cheryl get like unhinged, but she was she
they
was
sent me on a
not
wild goose
loving.
chase. Someone told me there was a Starbucks on the ship, and I'm not a big Starbucks. When I say specialty coffee, I usually want an iced vanilla coffee, or that's it. Like it's not
Or
fancy. I don't need,
cappuccino. You did a lot of cappuccino.
well, that's because
Or
so I
espresso.
found the place you get your coffee is at every bar. That's where you get your
And
coffee.
some bars are better than others. Like some
Yes,
bars can only just do like a shot of cappuccino or espresso. But we didn't find this till the end of the cruise. The
right.
one place made your specialty at
Iced
what you would
coffee.
call
Yeah,
specialty
it was
iced
a good
coffee with,
coffee. It was a good iced coffee. Like I said, I'm fairly simple. I'm not even the foamy latte creamy kind. I wanted a vanilla or a caramel or a mocha iced coffee. That's it. Just a
right.
little bit of flavor syrup and iced coffee. We found it by actually from one bar to the other. They said go down to this deck bar and ask them for this. And that's where I kind of lived after that. But there are no signs. There's no signs that say, no menus that tell you, hey, we offer at this setting, this bar, this whatever, these are the types of drinks you can get here outside of alcohol. They usually have their alcohol displayed, their sodas displayed, but there's nothing to explain what kind of coffee they can do. So I was extremely
The signage was
disappointed.
off. The signage in general was off on this ship. There wasn't a lot of places that told you this is this bar, you can get this here, this is this restaurant. It was just kind of like you wandered around and asked, is this place? Or it'd be on the side wall. Like it wouldn't even be, the bar that it was called the Edge, that
Correct.
bar
Yeah.
that where you finally found your coffee. But so you walk out into this big open atrium and then you can see the bar over in the corner, and then you see a sign called the Edge just on next to the hallway, and you're just like, I would never put together that that was the Edge, was that bar over there, because the signage was so far away from the actual bar. It was weird. It was a little wonky.
And
That threw me off a
the
little bit.
the bars, they didn't have drink menus. So you would have to ask for them and they'd maybe have one or two out. But they wanted you to look on the app, which was okay. It was not a terrible app, but it's not convenient to have to keep popping that up when you want to scroll. The other thing that was different about the bars on MSC versus the other cruise lines I've been on is usually each bar has something, a signature drink that they do. So you can bar hop. There is absolutely no reason to bar hop on MSC because every drink is the same across the ship. There are no specialty theme drinks at, say, the bar on deck 6 versus the bar on deck 10 or 12 or even up at 18. So that's different. You're getting the same across the
Mhm.
board, which I found tended to be their motto because that also led into all the restaurants, which we'll talk about dinner in just a second. All the restaurants were the main dining room restaurants, not the specialty. Every menu was the same.
All
Um,
week. Like
all week.
it didn't vary much. The other thing I will say, so we knew as agents we were coming on this cruise to do some research. They wanted the good, the bad, the ugly. We were even in training. So that next day we dedicated like 2 hours of our time to go on the trainings. And so we were trying to, like, part of the things that we were trying to bring back as now we're clients or we're customers on the ship is there was definitely a lack of communication as to what night was what theme, what we should be packing on the cruise. And we brought that out to our BDM and we're like, how do we not know anything about like what we're wearing from night to night, which is
Their
the gala night,
activities.
which is, yeah,
Yeah.
their activities. They don't put anything out. So people are just literally wandering around like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what are we going to do tonight? What are we going to do tomorrow night? What is, what's my outfit for this evening? What's my outfit for tomorrow? And we could not get that information anywhere. They just said like, oh, you'll find out by tomorrow. We make last minute decisions, but that did not seem normal to us.
Well, and then the activity calendar, usually on the previous cruises I've been on, once you get on board, well, like you said, we did try to research. Usually you can see the daily activities from just about
Yeah.
any other cruise line. It's going to be a previous cruise, and things may change, but they're fairly similar. The shows might change, the trivia, the
There's
games.
rotations of
Correct.
similar
But you have
activities.
an idea. Usually their theme nights all stay the same, the nights that they have them. Couldn't find any of that info before we went on this cruise. And when we got there, usually when you get on a cruise, you get your full week itinerary of the activities that they have so that you can make plans if you're with a group. One of the things we did take back to our BDM at one of the trainings was if there was a group or a family together, the next day's schedule didn't come out till like 11 p.m. at night. There was no way to plan for the 9 o'clock
Right.
activities
Which
because
is
it's too
problematic
late.
for
It
a lot
is.
of people. Yeah. So we even thought maybe we get the inside skinny because we're agents and we're going to these trainings. But when we talked to our BDM, she couldn't even tell us like what the next night was going to be. She's just like, "Oh, we find out last minute." And but that's with all of the cruises. And we're like, "No, no, that's not with all the cruises."
Right.
Like definitely you got to pick it up a notch on that because
And
that was frustrating.
we did when we went to customer service for one thing or the other. I remember we asked them, "Hey, can you please tell us?" They told, I wrote it down what was for
But
the
that
rest
was
of the
like the
week.
third night or the
Third day.
fourth
But
night
what
of
I'm
our
saying is
seven. Yeah.
they did know and it was already scheduled. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
why that was not given. So that was kind of not the greatest. But I'm
I
gonna
think
throw
they dropped the ball there a
yes,
bit.
absolutely. And their activities were very limited, very
Short
limited. And we'll talk
and
about
far and
that
few
as we
between.
get into day two when we actually did some activity or sort of. But I'll let you talk about the meals, Denise, how our, you know, how we dinner went with
So,
us the second
well,
night because
so
didn't eat at the restaurant the first night.
no, because I told you they gave us at 8:45 p.m. that we could not change. We couldn't change it, and that's real late for us to be having dinner. And it if we did want to go to the one show that they offered that night was like at 7 p.m. So if you wanted to get ready and go to the thing, you wouldn't have made your dinner. Or sometimes it was a 7:30 p.m. show or an 8 p.m. show. So at no way could we either do a performance and go to dinner. Like as you had to choose one or the other. You
Right.
either eat or you starve and go see the one performance they have that night.
Or you truck it to
So,
the buffet, which was
oh, the buffet was horrific.
but go
The
ahead and let's
buffet.
talk about the how we got into finally figured out how to get into the dinners.
Well, so trial and error, and it depends on who you ask. Honestly, you can get three different no's, and then somebody will be like, listen, all you got to do is just, even though it's not your time, let's say yours is a 9 p.m. and somebody has a 6 p.m., you just show up at the 6 p.m., you wait for everybody to get in the dining room, and then they close the doors, and then you just ask the maitre d', like, hey, we're on a waiting list for a party of two. Like we just want to, this is ours is a really late dining time. We'd like to get in there. And then we had some success with that. That's how we kind of, whether we ate that evening was whether or not we could convince somebody to please, for the love of God, give us an earlier dining time. Otherwise, we're hiking our ass back to the shitty ass buffet where they
Hunger
don't even act like
Games.
they don't act like humans there. It's like bat shit crazy. I've never in my whole life been on a cruise where the people were so aggressive that they'd be like nudging you out of the way in line to get a piece of meat or banana. If you like bananas, that one morning, geez, is like Hunger Games, like fight for your life for a freaking banana because these people are coming up and just grabbing bunches at a time like hungry little monkeys and trying to take it back to the clan. I don't know what the hell was going on, but I've never seen anybody so erratic over grabbing bananas. Like I wish I had recorded it because you guys would not believe the shit we saw. And they were throwing eggs in the face of the staff. People were throwing eggs at them. A waitress was knocked over by one of the angry passengers. It it was that shit crazy. I've never seen people act like this on a cruise. I don't know what was going on, but
Right.
I it was crazy. It was not it wasn't normal human behavior, I'll tell you that.
It was very different from every experience I've ever had at a situation like
Same.
that. Thank God for their charcuterie stuff because that's kind of what we lived on
Yeah,
for.
I lost weight on this cruise. I did not eat much at all. Like
Yeah,
cheese, meat, cheese. They didn't even have fucking
they
crackers.
did
It was
not have
meat, cheese,
crackers.
or whatever hard ass bread you're willing to gnaw on that.
Exactly. Yes. Fruit was very hard to come by, which is why Denise
It
mentions the
really was.
bananas because
I told her to be aggressive for that banana, but she's like, I'm not gonna get beat down over a banana.
yeah, we had this was like day 4. It was several days into the cruise, and I saw the first banana, and I was like, "Oh, I want a banana." There wasn't a lot of people up there, but by the time I had walked up to the lady, it was like a swarm. And Denise is behind me, like, "Get aggressive." I was like, "No, over a banana."
I I said you're gonna have to be aggressive because
Yeah, I
we've
was like,
seen people
"No."
take you out.
So, but
Listen,
it worked out, and I want to say, as we're kind of, and then we'll get into what we did that evening. But the staff throughout the
that's
entire week,
amazing.
I will say
Yes.
that I got to know so many of the staff,
And the
more
entertainment
so,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
but more so than I have on any other cruise, especially our room
Yep.
attendant, Leslie. She was
She was amazing.
amazing, and
So
so
friendly, would
bubbly.
go
Yeah,
out of her way to get you anything. Would ask about our day. Good morning, ladies. You off to training? And then we'd be like, yeah, we're working. And she's like, oh. And then we'd come back a couple hours later and like drink in hand. Now we're not working.
yeah.
It was
So,
so
and
great.
and everybody was just, uh, so amazing. And the ship
The
was
staff
so
was
clean. It was
oh so
the
clean.
cleanest ship. Even the
I've ever
bathrooms
seen. Mm-hmm.
were all, and I will say this, just why I mentioned the bathrooms. Now, these are the public bathrooms that you'll see as you're walking throughout the ship. Honestly, they're the best ones next to Princess that I've been on. That they were actual size bathrooms. They weren't little cubbies. They
Yeah, not
were,
stalls. You had room
it
to
was as if you had gone
and
into
they all
a
had
public
hooks for
bathroom.
your purse. Like they were never out of toilet paper. There was always hooks for your purse. They were always well attended.
Yes.
Whenever you walked through anywhere that had like a glass bottom or glass, they were constantly cleaning. It really was a very clean and tidy ship outside
Yes.
of the crazy patrons on there.
So on day 2, we actually did participate in one activity other than just kind of adventuring around. And that was the silent disco that Denise at first was like, I'm not going. But what did you think of the silent disco, Denise?
I actually did love the silent disco, and I think it depends on what DJ you get because the first night we went, it was Italian night, so we were in our little Italian getup, and then we went to the silent disco, and that it was really good. It was fun. I have many videos that you'll never see. Um, and yes, we did enjoy ourselves, and we met some new friends there. So at that
Mhm.
point, it was the second night. We met a nice lady named Patty, and we had met and even
Eleanor.
later that night, yeah, Eleanor we met was a future also a agent and I should say fellow, not future. But yeah, she was super sweet and we started exchanging cards with people. We met a lot of travel agents on the ship. And we were just kind of asking people like what's how's it going so far? And when we told people we were agents and that we were looking for feedback, boy, did we get some feedback. So then anything that went wrong with anybody, they were just like, listen to what happened to me. But not in a bad way. They were just we said our BDMs on here so we can give the feedback that you're looking for. Like if something went not great, tell us. If something was amazing, tell us that too. Like we're kind of an open book. We're here to get information. So we did. But
And I'll say the first 2 nights were everybody was just kind of enjoying getting out and about because we were still at sea that night. And then the next day when we
we're
get
still
so
very hopeful for the warm, beautiful Bahamas.
it was
Um,
actually not a bad day. It didn't rain that day, I don't think. I don't
it
think it
didn't rain
rained
that
that
day.
day. But
It
the
was just
sun,
super windy,
yeah,
super windy.
and cloudy.
Hmm.
Not freezing. Like we were still optimistic for the weather for the week because we were on our way to Orlando. That was where our first stop was. So we were day 2 was
Port Canaveral. Yep.
yeah, day 2 was fun. We like Denise said, we worked in the morning. We had a decent lunch and the buffet with our charcuterie. We battled dinner. We went to although dinner you had because it was Italian night, so you had like a chicken parm,
It
which
was like a frozen breast though that you could buy at like Walmart.
yeah,
And it wasn't good food. It wasn't good food. I ate like a bite and
the
had
desserts were
another
the
glass of red
better
wine.
part. Like that was
I'm not a dessert eater,
but when you have nothing else,
so
we did
I
enjoy the
still didn't.
desserts more.
Yeah, I had a bite of the New York cheesecake. It wasn't the worst, but I'm pretty sure it was like a frozen cheesecake they just pull out. Maybe Sara Lee or something. I don't know.
But
It wasn't
overall,
impressive.
I say by the end of night 2, we were having a good time. We had met a few people. We were learning the lay of the ship, and optimistic for what was
Yes.
to come.
Yes,
And
and the staff was great. We had met some nice friends and ended up spending. This is where we found the indoor cigar room, smoke lounge, and what ended up to be the VIP room. But because it was so chilly and windy, I would I would head there if Cheryl wanted to have a smoke or something. Then we headed in there, and we met a lot of really cool people in there. So even if
yeah,
we weren't smoking, the people that were in there were just nice and friendly, and so we kind of hung out there every day. We'd check in, and then we'd say, "Hey, how was your day? How was your night?" That's where we found some of the best friends that we made on that cruise. So it
more
day
details about
two,
that will be coming
yeah,
in our next few
absolutely.
episodes. Yeah. So day 1 and 2 were nice. I mean, there were a few things we were like, oh, this
A
isn't
few
normal.
hiccups, a few
Yeah,
hiccups, if you
but we
will.
expected some because MSC is fairly new to cruising in the US. So we expected, things to be slightly different. We didn't know much about it going in. We were very optimistic, I think, by the end of night 2.
We
But
were
we're
absolutely.
excited to tell you about in
Stay
our next
tuned.
episode. Yeah, we'll be
Yes.
covering days 3 and 4. So, yeah, just
And
stay
it gets
tuned. It
crazy.
it
So
does
definitely you definitely want to come back and hear what happens for the days to come. Trust.
absolutely. Yeah.
Suitcase Divas checking out for the day.
Yeah. Yes, that would have sucked because I was ready to hit start on my timer and I hadn't hit record on the thing. So yeah, that would have sucked.
That's what's gonna work. Teamwork. That's why we're
That's
a
how we
team,
get it done.
Cheryl.
We check the boxes for each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what. I'm also going to send out my link to these friggin' fleece lined leggings because tell, I cannot shout it off the rooftops how fucking amazing these leggings are. They've changed my life, man. Life changing leggings.
I do.
Anyway, I could
You
talk
put
about
the
these
two
leggings
over
all day long, but I
here.
guess we should proceed.
Yeah, because all right. Yep. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Okay, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year from Suitcase Divas podcast. My name is Denise Gibaldi. This is not a
N-
recording though, right? This
No,
is not like we're going into our episode.
no, I
Sorry,
would,
this is how I open. So
yeah, I
cut
just
at.
say like Happy New Year,
Okay,
and then go from there.
all right, all right. I got you. That's not a blooper. Take that out of there.
So don't put that on our new YouTube channel thing.
No.